patch of day 19, and this time I'm going to make something which is sort of the most basic time compression and expansion thing that you could think of making. It uses an object here. I'll just make one of those objects right now. 2d.wave. That's not a D, that's an S. 2d.wave, and we can look at the help on the 2d.wave. Tilde. You can see maybe that it has an X phase in and a Y phase in. Essentially what it does is chops up your buffer into, this is virtual now, chops your buffer into a virtual number of rows, and so it reads through the rows on the using this left signal inlet, and it reads through the columns on the next signal inlet. So you're reading through rows and columns of this sort of yes, chopped up buffer. Okay, very good. I might actually just, well, I can make this all myself. I can indeed. So I'm going to make a buffer here. New object, buffer. Probably see Peanut is one of my favorite names for buffers. Peanut, because of peanut buffer. I might have already tried to make that joke before, and it was probably not funny then either. And I'm going to replace this with talk.aiff. This time there is two F's. And we can just click the replace button and verify that there is indeed something in that buffer by double clicking on it. So we can see from the help patch that you need a message that says number of rows. I could have copied that from the help patch and made my whole life easier, I suppose. An integer value here to determine how many rows. I need a phasor. Again, this could have all come from the help patch. So phasor with a, I guess, does it need an initial value? I don't know. We'll put one in there. And the phasor for the, that's the row, and then a phasor for the column, which will stick another phasor in here for the column. And actually these both need floats, F for float. I could have done that at the same time. Let's just put those there. All right, so we can hook this up to a DAC, and we've basically got the help patch. I don't know why I didn't just destroy the help patch now. Okay, I'll take it in the left. Thank you. All right, so we can give it maybe, let's try 16 rows. And what is it saying here? Oh yes, bad arguments for rows, message rows. Why? Oh yeah, $1 maybe for the message. I actually forgot to put the name of the buffer that I'm reading from in the 2D waves. I need that.
话吗？对不起，我能跟你说几句话吗？对不起，我能跟你说几句话吗？对不起，我能跟你说几句话吗？对不起，我能跟你说几句话吗？对不起，我能跟你说几句话吗？对不起，我能跟你说几句话吗？对不起，我能跟你说几句话吗？对不起，我能跟你说几句话吗？对不起，我能跟你说几句话吗？对不起，我能跟你说几句话吗？对不起，我能跟你说几句话吗？对不起，我能跟你说几句话吗？对不起，我能跟你说几句话吗？对不起，我能跟你说几句话吗？对不起。
It doesn't really seem to me that this thing is working exactly the way I'd imagined it should. Maybe I've forgotten something, I don't know. Let's have a quick look at this help. Arguments buffer, sample ended and begin, number of channels and rows. Okay, well you shouldn't need any of those things, just the rows value here. Maybe I just didn't save that. Oh, I didn't put this number in here, did I? No, good. So now it's more like what I'd expect, I hope. Turn this thing on. Okay, you can hear kind of the start to the idea of the time expansion that going on there. What I suppose we might want to do is to window this so we get rid of the clickings, the clicking stuff, and probably a great place to look for something that produces a window for this kind of deal is over here in, this is from the transposer, which is down in examples, max examples, effects, transposer. I'm just going to open up my transposer because it has this little window generator in here, which when this patch loads, it basically creates this nice looking window. Alright, so actually I might just steal this entire thing. I'm going to need two of those, so I'm going to copy that and paste that in here. Alright, so if we read the phase of this window using this the rows, so every time we get to the end of the row, the amplitude will be 0, and then when we get to the start of the row, it'll be 0, and it'll be loudest in the middle of the row. That we won't get the clicking at the ends of each row if we multiply this 2D wave signal by the cycle. And this should get rid of the clicking. Alright, so now to get this thing working the way you might expect time compression expansion to work, we would want another copy of this, but 180 degrees out of phase with the same thing. So I will just duplicate that, Command C for the copying that, and Alt or Option dragging that over. Yes, and I guess I'll hook up the rows so that they both have 16. I might change that number just to make sure that it really is 16. So in this X and Y, well actually only the X, we're going to want to stick that 180 degrees out of phase, and we might have already discussed this in a tutorial, but to get this out of phase, we'll plus tilde, just add 0.5 to this signal. One of the problems here is that this X, this is fine going into the cycle tilde, because the cycle tilde, the phase inlet just automatically does the modulus for the, so that when it gets above 1, because it's going to go 1.1 to 1.5, it'll just wrap back to 0 at 1. Interestingly though, this inlet for the 2D wave doesn't do that. It wants to go beyond 1. For what reason, I have no idea, but you can use a modulus tilde, which is the percent signal, percent symbol on that thing, so that you can basically perform a modulus, which is just wrapping around 1. So once it gets to over 1, it will go back to 0. Okay, we want that in there. This patch is very compact, but it's starting to look a little messy already. How can I make this look neater? Yes, okay, that looks a bit better. I'm going to make this like stereofied so that I get my time expansion in stereo and make it's essentially the same concept as a harmonizer, which that transposer thing shows, except that we're using playback of a sample instead of using a delay line. Okay, so I will see you in patch a day number 20, and have fun with that. Cheers.